शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणि विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। कठोपनिषद अध्याय 2 वल्ली 3 मंत्र 9। न सन्दृशे तिष्ठति रूपमस्य न चक्षुषा पश्यति कश्चनैनम् हृदा मनीषा मनसाभिक्लुप्तः य एतद्विदुरमृतास्ते भवन्ति। We'll see the bhashya. कथं तर्हि अलिङ्गस्य दर्शनम् उपपद्यते इत्युच्यते। So, previous verse, Brahman was described as alinga, free from linga sharira. If it is free from linga sharira also, then it does not have any attributes. Neither it has thula sharira, nor it has sukshma sharira. Therefore, it is free from all attributes. We know an object with attributes. All that we know in the universe is with the attributes. Our mind is used to recognize things with the attributes. But now there is something which does not have attributes. Alinga. Tasya alingasya darshanam katham upapadyate. How can one know? How can there be darshanam? Darshanam means jnanam. Always darshanam does not mean visual perception. One meaning of darshanam is visual perception, but it has another meaning also, jnanam, understanding. The same drishya dhatu is used in the sense of understanding, knowing also. सो तस्य अलिंगस्य दर्शनम कथम उपपद्यते. How can one know the alinga, the Brahman which is free from linga, therefore free from attributes? Ityuchyate. It is explained in this mantra. न संदृशे संदर्शन विषये न तिष्ठति प्रत्यगात्मनः अस्य रूपम्. अस्य प्रत्यगात्मनः रूपम् संदृशे न तिष्ठति. The rupa of the pratyagatma, the nature of pratyagatma, the nature of atma does not exist in the field of visual perception, in the field of vision. Sandrishe na tishtati. Na tishtati does not stand, means does not exist. Sandrishe means darshana vishaye, sandarshana vishaye, in the field of perception. Not just visual, all forms of sense perception. Though literally sandarshane, sandrashe means visual perception, it stands for all sense perceptions. One cannot see the Atma, one cannot hear the Atma, not only in the normal life, also in meditation. Do not expect to see the Atma in meditation also. Even in meditation, Atma cannot be perceivable because it does not have any guna, no color. Therefore, you cannot see the Atma as a light. Some people think they see the Atma as light. It is not so. Light means color. Then this person asks, then why does the Shastra describe Atma as a Jyotihi? So Jyoti does not mean this light, not the physical light. Jyoti means consciousness. Jyotisham Jyotihi, Swayam Jyotihi. It does not mean Atma is the physical light. So, na sandrashe tishtati. It cannot be, it does not exist in the field of visual perception, in the domain of perception, sense perception. Ataha na chakshusha sarvendriyena चक्षुर्ग्रहणस्य उपलक्षणार्थत्वात् पश्यति न उपलभते कश्चन कश्चिदपि एनं प्रकृतम् आत्मानं. अतः, therefore, since Atma is not an object of perception, therefore, enam atmanam, enam prakritam atmanam, this Atma Enam means prakritam, the one that is under discussion. And what is under discussion? Atmanam. Therefore, enam prakritam atmanam. Kaschana, anybody, kaschidapi. Kaschana is kaschidapi, anybody. Chakshusha na pashyati. One does not see with the eyes. Chakshusha, with the eyes, implies sarvendriyena, with all senses. How can you get this meaning? Bhashyakara says, Chakshurgrahanasya upalakshanarthatvat. Chakshurgrahanam, mention of eyes, mention of Chakshurindriya is upalakshana. It stands for all indriyas. Upalakshanam means swapratipadyatve sati swetara swapratipadakatve sati swetara pratipadakatvam. Upalakshanam. It stands for itself as well as it stands for all others in the group, like a representative. So, if one person has come, you should understand all have come. It's as good as all have come. Chakshurgrahanasya upalakshanarthatvat. So, Chakshurgrahana is upalakshanam. Pashyati means upalabhate. In that case, pashyati should be understood as upalabhate, janati. Not just visual perception, all perceptions are involved. One does not perceive the Atma through the senses. Katham tarhi tam pashyet iti uchyate. Tarhi, then katham tam pashyet, how one should know the Atma. Iti, this question arises, and then the answer is being told in the second half. Uchyate. So, to know the Atma, one needs a buddhi. The buddhi is very much needed, and there has to be a buddhi vritti also. And the vritti is produced by Vedanta Shravana, Shastra Acharya, Upadesha Janita vritti. And the vritti is needed to remove the ajnana. And when the vritti removes the ajnana, the Brahman becomes evident. The nature of Brahman becomes evident. Then, for the vritti to remove the ajnana, if the vritti has to remove the ajnana, vritti means jnana. Jnana is in the form of vritti. If the jnana has to remove the ajnana, there should not be any obstacle in the path of knowledge. But then the indriyas and manas, buddhi, all can pose obstacles in the pursuit of knowledge. because they have their viparita bhavana. If the jnana has to work, the viparita bhavana needs to be removed. The buddhi should be free from viparita bhavana. Therefore, hrida manisha, the buddhi which is free from viparita bhavana. In that kind of buddhi, the Atmajnana arises. Atmajnana stays without obstacles, and then the Atma reveals itself. Hrida, hrida, hridsthaya buddhya, manisha, manasaha, sankalpadi rupasya, ishte, niyantratvena, iti manit, taya hrida, manisha, avikalpayitriya, hrida, by hrit. And hrit stands for buddhi, which is present in hridaya. So hrit means hridayam. So hridaya stands for buddhi. Hridsthaya buddhya, by the buddhi which is present in the heart. Jahallakshana. So hridaya stands for the one that is in the hridaya. Manisha, it is an adjective for buddhi, an adjective of buddhi. Manisha, manasaha sankalpadi rupasya ishte niyantratvena iti manit. Taya hrida manisha. So it rules over manas. Manasaha ishte, the one who rules over manas, the one who restrains manas, is called manit. And what is manas? Manas stands for the vrittis, the emotions and imaginations, etc., that are not conducive for Atmajnana, unhealthy for Atmajnana. Vedanta, unfriendly thoughts and emotions. Sankalpadi rupasya, sankalpa, etc. Sankalpa, imagination. Then kama, desire, etc. Ishte, it governs them. Niyantratvena, as the one who restrains them, does not allow them, as long as they are not conducive for Atmajnana. If they are not conducive for Atmajnana. Iti manit, that kind of buddhi is called manit. Taya manisha, tritiya vibhakti of manit is manisha. So manisha means avikalpayitriya, the buddhi which is free from vikalpas, which is free from vrittis that are not conducive for Atmajnana. Vikalpa means viparita kalpanam, means viparita bhavana. The thoughts that are contrary to Atmajnana, they are called vikalpa. Avikalpayitriya means which is free from vikalpa, free from viparita bhavana. Manasa manana rupena samyak darshanena manasa. So this manasa is different. The previous manasa is different. This manasa is different. Here manasa means manana rupena samyak darshanena. Manasa, manana. Manas is derived from mandhatu. So manana rupena. Mananam means jnanam here. Jnana rupena. Manovritti rupena. Jnana is in the form of a manovritti. And it is samyak darshanam. The vritti is in the form of samyak darshanam, proper understanding. So, meaning vritti jnana, the jnana which is in the form of a vritti, which is generally called akhandakara vritti. This vritti deals with the Brahman. It is in the form of understanding of Brahman. Instead of dealing with the Nama Rupa, it deals with the Brahman. That kind of vritti. It is called akhandakara vritti or vritti jnanam. It is samyak darshanam. Abhikliptaha, abhisamarthitaha, abhiprakashitaha ityetat. Abhikliptaha means abhisamarthitaha. Klipadhatu has the meaning of samarthya. Klipi samarthye. Klipi or klipu, I am not sure. Samarthye. Taking that meaning of klipadhatu, he gives the meaning abhisamarthitaha. Abhikliptaha means abhisamarthitaha. So, samarthanam means establishing. The Atma is established by samyak darshanam. What does the Shruti mean by establishing the Atma? The Atma is already established. It is very much present. So, establishing means revealing the Atma by removing the ignorance. The ajnana is removed, then the Atma becomes very much evident. The nature of the Atma, the paripurna swarupa of the Atma becomes free from all obstacles. When the ajnana is gone. Therefore, abhiprakashitaha ityetat. Abhikliptaha, literal meaning is abhisamarthitaha. In this context, it means abhiprakashitaha. Made clearly evident, revealed by means of the vritti. So Vrittivyapti is needed. Manasa means Vrittivyapti. There is Vrittivyapti, but there is no Phalavyapti. The Vrittivyapti removes the Ajnana, then the Atma is very much evident. The Ajnana has to go, that's all. So that is Abhiprakashanam. So there is no other Abhiprakashanam than removal of ignorance. Because Atma is Prakasha Swarupa. In fact, it is already evident. But because of Ajnana, we were thinking it is incomplete. It is limited. So when the Ajnana goes away, all the superimposed limitations on the Atma are removed. So that is Abhiprakashanam. Abhiprakashitaha ityetat Atma Jnatum shakyate iti vakyasheshaha. Abhikluptaha Atma Jnatum shakyate. We have to supply this. Hrida Manisha Manasa Abhikluptaha Atma Jnatum shakyate. So when the Buddhi Vritti in the form of Atma Jnana reveals the Atma, then the Atma is known. Atma Jnatum shakyate. That is how the Atma can be known. Iti Vakyasheshaha. It is the remaining part of the Vakya which should be supplied. Tam Atmanam Brahma Etat Ye Viduhu Amritaste Bhavanti. So now the last quarter, the fourth quarter is talking about the phala, jnana phalam. Tam atmanam, that atma, ye Brahma, the atma is Brahman. Ye viduhu, those who know the Brahman, they amrita bhavanti. They become amritaha. They attain moksha. Next mantra. Mantra 10. Yada panchavatishthante Jnanani manasa saha Buddhischana vicheshtati Tamahuf paramangatim. In this verse, as well as in the following verse, the Shruti is introducing another concept, Yogaha. These verses form the basis of chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita, which is called Dhyana Yogaha. Meditation. And the meditation involves Samadhi Abhyasa. practice of focus, practice of concentration. And the purpose of yoga. Yoga means samadhi, focus, concentration. The purpose of practicing concentration is to remove the viparita bhavana. The senses, manas and buddhi, indriyani, manaha and buddhi, all these components of our personality might behave adversely to Atmajnana, in contradiction with the Atmajnana. The Indriyas might behave impulsively. The impulsive behavior of the senses acts as an obstacle to assimilate Atmajnana. The Vagindriya does not stay quiet. It wants someone to talk to, and it will start gossiping. For a habitual gossiper, the Vagindriya itself creates stories. It seems like that, I don't know. The Vagindriya itself tells lies. The Vagindriya itself starts shouting, even without thinking. It is a very decentralized government. Without reporting to the center, any Indriya can make its own decision. It is an unintegrated personality, where the Indriyas behave impulsively, Manas behaves impulsively, senses behave impulsively. Therefore, the personality is not in alignment with the Atmajnana. The personality is not aligned with the Atmajnana. It deviates from Atmajnana in various directions. In such a situation, when the personality is too much disaligned from Atmajnana, in such a situation, Samadhi Abhyasa or Yoga Abhyasa is very important to align the personality with the Atmajnana. In the process of Samadhi Abhyasa, one disciplines one's senses, learns to restrain one's senses, Indriya Nigraha. Mano nigraha. The manas is restrained. The buddhi is restrained. Indriyani, manaha, buddhi, everything is restrained. And the faculties are trained to stay with the Atmajnana, to be in harmony with the Atmajnana, not to disturb Atmajnana. Therefore, the meditation involves restraint of the senses and the mind, withdrawal of the senses and mind from the anatma, and making oneself, one's mind, abide in the Atmajnana. It is a practice of abidance in the jnana. By deliberately entertaining, with effort, one entertains the Vedanta friendly thoughts. The thoughts that are in keeping with Vedanta. Like aham brahmasmi, jagan mithya, aham purnaha, ityadi ityadi. You entertain Vedanta conducive thoughts, the Vedanta friendly thoughts. And through deliberate practice, consistently, for a good length of time, one assimilates the Atmajnana. And the practice of such practice, the practice of meditation, it culminates in assimilation of knowledge. The knowledge gets assimilated to such a degree that it percolates into every part of our personality. And every part of the personality works in unison with the knowledge. The Indriyas don't behave contrary to Atmajnana. The Indriyas work in alignment with Atmajnana. They are not impulsive. The manas, the emotional faculty, works in harmony with the Atmajnana. It does not swerve away from Atmajnana. And so is the buddhi, our decisions, etc. So, Indriya, Manas, Buddhi, everything remains in Atmajnana. Means they don't act in a manner that is adverse to Atmajnana. So, the practice of yoga, I am not talking about Shirshasana. Yoga means a particular type of meditation which is called Vedantic meditation. You make use of the process of meditation, sit properly, relaxed, and entertain the Vedantic thoughts. That kind of meditation. That is what the Shruti is talking about now. It's a form of Nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam means dhyana. Dhyana. Meditation on Atma. Atmajnana. In this verse, the Shruti is giving the target. Instead of explaining the process itself, the Shruti is explaining the target. What you have to accomplish. What kind of personality one has to accomplish by means of yoga, by means of Nididhyasanam. When the target is set, the Shruti knows that we will make effort to reach it. And the means that we employ, the intensity of the means that we employ might differ. When the target is set, some people will try to walk and reach the target. Some people who are very much eager to reach the target quickly, they will run and reach the target. Some people will choose to walk fast. There are various ways of reaching the target. And with what quickness you reach the target, how fast you reach the target depends on where you are from the target, at what distance you are from the target. Even that matters. For some people, it may not be very difficult because they have already accomplished certain amount of restraint over their mind and senses. Certain amount of disciplining of the mind and senses has already taken place because of Karma Yoga and Upasanam, even before they came to Atmajnana. They have enough Chitta Shuddhi. Then it won't take very long. But then if somebody has not accomplished it, then he will have to spend more time with the greater intensity of sadhana. It differs. The requirement of samadhi abhyasa differs from person to person. The requirement of Nididhyasana differs from person to person. Some people may not need it at all because they might have had enough Chitta Shuddhi, and just by Shravana they get the Atmajnana. If he is an ideal adhikari, uttama adhikari, Shravana itself is enough. But then, most often, generally, it is not so. People do not come with adequate chitta shuddhi. Though they might be having chitta shuddhi, it is not adequate. So then they need more intense and prolonged nididhyasanam. यदा पंचावतिष्ठन्ते ज्ञानानि मनसा सहा. Yada, when, as I said, the Shruti is setting the target. The state of spiritual maturity that one has to reach is the target. It is not a state of mind. I won't call it a state of mind. It's not a state of mind. It is not a state of experience. Don't expect this to happen when your eyes are closed and thumb. It is not so. It's not an instantaneous state of mind. The Shruti is not talking about that. It is not a mystical state of mind. Instead, it is a level of spiritual maturity, a stage of spiritual maturity which is lasting. Your personality has to be so. It's a transformation brought about by consistent and intense sadhana. So this yada is not an instance. It is talking about your mature spiritual personality. Yada panchajnanani, the five senses. Jnanani means indriyani ityartha, not knowledges. Five senses. Panchajnanani. Manasa saha, along with the manas. Here manas is the faculty dealing with the imagination, doubts, etc. Emotions, imaginations, doubts. Manasa saha. Avatishtante. Atmani eva avatishtante. We have to supply. Atmani eva avatishtante. They abide in the Atma only. Means they abide in the Atma Jnana only. Means they don't behave against Atma Jnana. They are free from their impulsive behavior and they are free from the viparita bhavana. Buddhischana vicheshtati. Even the buddhi, nishchayatmika buddhi, the decision making faculty, even buddhi does not act in opposition with the Atma Jnana. in contrast with Atmajnana. The buddhi does not accept the Jagat as Satyam, etc. Tam ahuf paramam gatim. Tam, that kind of a spiritual maturity where Indriya, Manas, Buddhi, everything is in alignment with Atmajnana. It is Paramam Gatim Ahuhu. The Panditaha, Jnaninaha, the wise men call it Paramagati, the ultimate stage, the ultimate goal of a mumukshu, the ultimate stage of spiritual maturity. He does not deviate from Atmajnana, even during Vyavahara. And this stage of maturity is sometimes called Sahaja Samadhihi. Yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayaha. Wherever the mind goes, he is in samadhi. He may be doing vyavahara. He may be doing the transactions, yet he is in samadhi. Because even during transaction, he does not lose sight of Atmajnana. Because he has owned up his true identity. Aham Brahmasmi. It is as much spontaneously available as the present identity for an Ajnani. An Ajnani does not remember, does not forget his name. The name is well assimilated. The name identity, the gender identity, it's all well assimilated for an Ajnani. It has sunk in. I am Mr. So and so. Similarly, Aham Brahmasmi. If this vision has been well entrenched in one's mind and he doesn't lose sight of it, the knowledge is spontaneously available despite being involved in transaction. It is Paramagati. It is the ultimate goal, the target that a jnani has to accomplish, that a jijnasu has to accomplish. Sa hrinmanit katham prapyate iti tadarthaha yogaha uchyate. Sa hrinmanit. Hrinmanit means hrid, which is manit. The buddhi, which is manit, which has mastery over its thoughts, means which is free from viparita bhavana. Katham prapyate, how it is accomplished. Iti, this is a question. Tadartho yoga uchyate. Tadarthaha means hrinmanit praptyarthaha. for attaining a buddhi which is free from viparita bhavana. Yogaha uchyate. Yogaha means samadhi. Samadhi abhyasa. Practice of concentration. But here the Shruti does not directly talk about abhyasa. The Shruti talks about yoga itself. Yoga means the sahaja samadhi, where the mind abides in Atmajnana effortlessly. The same thing is called yoga in Bhagavad Gita chapter 6 also. Yogaha uchyate. Yoga is being described. So even the practice is called yoga. Also, the state of maturity as a result of practice, it is called yoga. So yoga abhyasa or samadhi abhyasa, it is a practice of concentration. And where it takes you, it is called yogaha or samadhi. It is the end, the target. So here yogaha is the target, the goal. Which is called sahaja samadhi. Yada yasmin kale svavishayebhyah nivartitani atmanyeva panchajnanani jnanarthatvat श्रोत्रादीनि इंद्रियाणि ज्ञानानि उच्यन्ते. Yada. Yada means yasmin kale. At which time. Means at which stage of spiritual growth. As a result of dhyana abhyasa. As a result of practice of nididhyasanam. Svavishayebhyah nivartitani panchajnanani. Panchajnanani. 5 jnanas. And jnana stands for indriyani. Jnanarthatvat shotradini indriyani jnanani uchyante. Shotradini indriyani, the indriyas, shotra, etc., they are called jnanani, means jnanendriya. How can you call indriya as jnana? Because jnana means knowledge. Indriya is a means of knowledge. It is not a knowledge itself. Then how can you call them jnana? Bhashyakara says jnanarthatvat. Since they are meant for knowledge, they can also be called jnanani. Jahallakshana. Jnana sadhanatvat. Jnanani uchyante. So these jnanani svavishayebhyah nivartitani. They are restrained from their respective sense objects. They do not behave impulsively with their sense objects. They do not go towards their sense objects impulsively. Atmanyeva avatishtante. They abide in the Atma only. The Indriyas abide in the Atma. The Indriyas can never abide in the Atma because Indriya cannot see the Atma. Therefore, we should understand it properly. It should not be understood literally. Atmani eva avatishtante means they behave in alignment with the Atma Jnana. They do not pull the person away from Atma Jnana. They do not distract the person from Atma Jnana by behaving impulsively. Saha manasa avatishtante saha manasa yadanugatani tena sankalpadi vyavrittena antahkaranena saha manasa, along with the manas. Yad anugatani indriyani. The indriyas follow the manas. If the manas is restrained, indriyas also get restrained. So, restraint of indriya is possible with the restraint of manas. Disciplined senses follow the disciplined mind. Indriyani hayanahuhu manaf pragrahamevacha. The manas acts as pragraha, rein to the indriyas. So, in that sense, the indriyas follow the mind. They don't act against the mind, the manas, the willpower. Yad anugatani tena sankalpadi vyavrittena antahkaranena. It is a description of manasa. Sankalpadi vyavrittena antahkaranena. Manas is the antahkarana, which is sankalpadi vyavritta, which is free from sankalpa, etc., which is its function. Means it does not do sankalpa, kama, etc., in such a way that it distracts from the Atma Jnana. It overpowers the Atma Jnana. So it does not distract, does not deviate from the Atma Jnana, manas. So, sankalpadi vyavrittena. The functions of the manas are in harmony with the Atma Jnana. Buddhischa adhyavasaya lakshana na vicheshtati swavyapareshu न विचेष्टते न व्याप्रियते ताम आहुः परमां गतिम. Buddhischa, and also the buddhi, adhyavasaya lakshana. Buddhi, which is in the form of adhyavasaya, characterized by adhyavasaya. Adhyavasaya means nishchaya, decision, ascertainment. Even buddhi, swavyapareshu na vicheshtati, does not function, does not do its function. Swavyapareshu, in its function, na vicheshtati, it does not engage. Meaning, it does not engage in an action that is not in keeping with Atmajnana. Meaning free from Viparita Bhavana. Does not act according to Viparita Bhavana. Does not behave in a manner that is unfriendly to Vedanta. So, Vyapareshu na vicheshtate, na vyapriyate, so does not function. So, we should not take this also literally. Does not function does not mean it does not function at all. Not that meaning. The functioning of the buddhi is in harmony with the Atmajnana. Everything is aligned with the Atmajnana. Everything resonates with the Atmajnana. Indriya, Manas, Buddhi, all resonate with the Atmajnana. And it is accomplished through a sincere and consistent practice of Nididhyasana. Tam paramam gatim ahuhu. It is the ultimate goal of a mumukshu. And that is the kind of personality that one has to accomplish through the pursuit of Atmajnana. By soaking oneself in Atmajnana. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.